Today's episode is sponsored by, wait for it, Faraday. I'm still waiting for them to call and say, you know what, that's our official song. And they haven't done it yet. But Faraday brand is a wonderful sponsor of the podcast, and they have incredible clothing for men and women, and they even have accessories, especially their blankets.
Oof.
They are just so unique and so amazing. They have high-quality premium clothing and accessories. You can check out their website. The company's great. I love when a company has a mission. They're family-owned, and I just think that's really neat. You and I run businesses together, and I just think that's sweet, and you can see the special touch that's put into the company. So if you're looking for some men's clothes, some women's clothes, some accessories, some blankets. I know I keep saying blankets, but they're really
because
awesome.
It's so cold out right now, and you just want to be cozy and comfortable, and their blankets are the best. But check them out, FaradayBrand.com/Freddie Alyssa. And they were so kind to give our listeners 25% off if y'all use the code Freddie Alyssa at checkout.
So check them out. Faraday brand, thank you so much. We really appreciate you, Faraday.
Faraday!
Welcome, everyone, to the Freddie and Alyssa Show. If you didn't know where you were, they're on our mugs. Cheers,
right
babe.
there. Cheers, honey.
Now, see, I always have to restart. I can never goof around because that my flow, it must be burned into my head.
Really? I'm so sorry to break your flow, husband.
Here we go. Welcome, everyone, to the Freddie and Alyssa Show. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe, like, comment, all that fun YouTube stuff. If you're watching on Facebook, give us a follow. If you're listening on a platform like iTunes, hello out there. If you think we're doing a great job and you want to give us a 5-star review, we'd really appreciate that. We've been putting up content now for over 3 years, having an absolute blast, and we get to do what we love because of all of you. So thank you for tuning in each week and checking out our videos and engaging. It just really means a lot to us, so we appreciate you very much. And we're working very hard to continue to innovate, and we're exploring platforms like TikTok. We're going to be doing way more vlogs here on YouTube, giving you a little insight into our life. Same thing on Facebook, posting on YouTube and Facebook. So we are planning. We're going to kind of do an extended little honeymoon, but we're not going to do it all in a 2-week, like 1 2-week run. We're going to kind of go do like 2-3 day weekends, like every couple weeks, or we're going to try to figure that out. But we want to go all around Florida and do a little road tripping honeymoon extravaganza. And we want to take you with us because we want to find the coolest Airbnbs in the coolest cities and the coolest towns, and we're going to do it in a very safe way. But we want to check out the beach. We want to enjoy the fact that one of the perks of living in Florida is that it's warm all year round. So we might as well use that perk and go and get some sun and go explore. And I don't know why Florida on the beach just makes me want to have a coconut with a big straw in it.
Coconut with a big straw?
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever seen you in your life have a coconut drink with a straw.
Well, things are changing, babe.
Do you even like coconuts?
I love coconut.
I thought you were allergic.
Coconut oil, coconut water.
Coconut water is good.
Coconut.
It's bomb.
Coconut.
Lip balm.
There's pretty much coconut everything, isn't there? There's coconut flavored vodka. There's coconut CBD, I'm sure.
Yeah.
There's coconut, those little Valentine's Day candies when you bite into it and you go, oh, coconut, yum.
No, those chocolates are the best. The dark chocolate with coconut. Like, hello, Almond Joy is my favorite.
That's my least favorite.
I know. That's why I didn't think you were a coconut fan. But you said things are changing, so...
Things are changing.
You know what? This Valentine's Day, I'm going to get you a big box of chocolates, all coconut filled, and I'm going to have you test them all out right here on the Freddie Alyssa Show. And we'll really see if things have
That'll
changed.
be great. I hope I get the caramel first so that I'm completely... is everyone enjoying listening?
Don't you kind of love, though, getting those boxes of chocolates and it's kind of just chance what you're picking? Because sometimes you can go by the little key they give you of, oh, yeah, this one has caramel, this has chocolate. But I kind of like looking and going, you know what? I'm going to gamble today. Let's see which chocolate this is.
There's one of the chocolates, though, that have a real tart kind of pink.
Strawberry. Why did I know you were going to say that? I love that.
Which is very disappointing.
No.
And then the ones with coconut are very disappointing.
Those are my favorite.
But dark fudge or caramel or caramel, depending on what part of the country you're from.
Caramel.
I don't even know what I am anymore.
What do you say? What would you say?
I say caramel.
See, I say caramel.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I did that little challenge on TikTok where they said like the word and then How do you say it from where you're in the world? Like coupon or coupon.
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 What do you say?
Like coupon, not coupon.
Coupon.
You said something the other day. It's tournament.
Tournament.
You say tournament?
Yeah.
Tournament.
Tournament.
Tournament?
I don't know why I say it that way. Tournament.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the tournament. We've got the West versus the East.
Maybe it is tournament, but I've always said
I think people
tournament.
say tournament.
Isn't that weird how we can pronounce different words just depending where you grew up, what's normal? Same with just different verbiage in general. Like we were saying the other day on a live that you always used to say supper growing up.
Yeah. And then we say dinner. Well, also you say a magnet and cabinet.
You hate when I say
you
that.
add the I in there. I know the I's in
magnet. Magnets. I know it's cabinet. CABINET. Is that cabinet?
No one says cabinet.
Cabinet.
Right?
Babe, open the cabinet.
What do you say?
The cabinet.
The cabinet?
Yeah, the cabinet.
It's just cabinet.
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 You open the cabinet.
The cabinet. I don't know.
Magnet.
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 What do I say? Magnet. No.
No, but you do say
something weird.
What's the word?
Cabinet.
God, it's cabinet. Okay, we need to know. Is anyone actually say cabinet?
Have I lost my mind?
You say cabin, like a cabin.
Cabin. Cabinet.
It's just cabinet.
Cabinet. Let us know what you guys think.
Yeah.
Am I cray-cray? Possibly.
All the accents are really interesting to think about how... do you know Fred Armisen?
Yeah.
That guy can do the dialect. Is it dialect or accent? I wonder what the difference is. He can do, let's call it accent. He can do an accent from every state in the United States and even has a little bit of variance based on the state. Like I think he does a Houston and an Austin. He can do any, you can probably YouTube it. After this podcast, I would check out Fred Armisen, like United States accents. You will be absolutely blown away.
You know what's crazy about accents? I remember being in probably high school and I did an acting class and the coach was saying, listen, if you guys are going to do accents, you have to be so specific of exactly where you're from. So you can't just say, oh yeah, I can do a Florida accent, even though it's not really a thing. But you would have to know as the actor, yeah, I am from Coral Springs, Florida, the west side of or whatever. You have to just be so specific. And I think that always kind of scared me with accents because I was like, oh gosh.
Some people it comes easy though.
I know.
Like I feel like when I watch a dancer or you watch someone who can do impressions or accents, it's just a talent. Like you can put on a song and a professional dancer will instantly just know what to do. Same thing with accents. And for me, my impressions and my accents are not that good, but my impressions in the sense of like, you know, doing the voice. I don't think I do the voice great, but it's but there's certain people that maybe the mannerisms I will impersonate very well.
You're really good at that.
I can, so whatever this is, like the lip syncing for me, I can impersonate the emotion and where those people are like to a T, but I can't imitate people's voices that well. Like I don't have like a what I never do. Anytime I see what's your celebrity impression, I'm like, I don't know.
Meanwhile, you do a TikTok of Kris Jenner and nail it.
But that's the mannerisms.
Yeah, I know.
Not
You're
the actual voice. So I don't know where that comes from. That must just be a talent people have. Or you can probably learn an accent.
Of course. I think if you watch anyone long enough and study them and kind of understand where their like speech is coming from, like is it deep inside? Is it more heady voice? Like when I was a little girl, I'd always talk like this because of the Spice Girls. I was like, I love talking because of the Spice Girls. You know, and so for so long I loved doing that, and I could have full-blown conversations with my friends just talking like this. Maybe I'm stuck in Bridgerton right now.
I would panic. I would go in and out. Yeah, that's interesting. It must just be something, but...
Do you remember when Madonna started speaking with a British accent? Like just one day she just had one, and I was like, hey.
Madonna to me is kind of like Lord of the Rings, Star Wars, Madonna... big iconic things that everyone talks about that I missed. Like I don't know anything about Madonna. Like if you for $1,000,000, could I name? Isn't she do like the Virgin song?
Yeah, like a virgin.
Okay.
Vogue, Vogue.
I'm sure if you played them, and I'd go, oh, okay. But that's how. Like, I have no idea about Madonna whatsoever. Completely slipped my mind. Star Wars, couldn't name one person. Lord of the Rings, like there's certain like classic culture things of growing up that I should know that just for some reason never hit my radar.
Well, I think especially for you, it's because it was just you as a kid. So like even Madonna, she was a little bit before our time, but in the sense of like she really came to fame, I think like in the 80s when we were like really, really young. And then as the 90s progressed, of course, she was massively famous, but just we were still like a little young to understand what was going on. And if you had no siblings, you only knew what you knew. I can't imagine you would just be turning on Madonna, you know, at 4 years old, like same here.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I had the influence of an older sister. I do remember seeing Evita with Madonna when I was really young, and I just thought she was so great. But I also had, you know, an older sister. So whatever she was listening to, I was like, what's that? What's going on? New Kids on the Block? What? They were a little before our time, too. Mm-hmm. We were NSYNC, Backstreet Boys, Britney, all of that stuff. But yeah, I'm the same with the Star Wars. Lord of the Rings I did love, actually. I'd love to rewatch that with you. Harry Potter.
Yeah, I missed all that.
Any of that.
Yeah. Well, now too, I feel a lot of the times you kind of it's almost unfair to judge, like whatever, because I know the Star Wars are out of order, like the numbering of them.
Really?
But whatever the first one is, I think that's great. I feel like the people who watch it now, it brings them back to that moment when they were a kid in the theater watching it. So you end up liking it maybe more. But when I have no nostalgia whatsoever, but I also can't watch a movie from whatever year it was and then judge it based on now. Because there's times we'll see movies that I've never watched before that is from 1998. And they're saying things in the movie that I go, that's so lame. Like, we've been hearing that for 25 years. And I go, oh, wait, that was probably one of the first times it was ever said. And now it's been copied for 25 years.
Yep.
So it's just really hard to judge an older film. And I'm at the point where I just don't have interest. Even Family Guy. I've watched every episode of Family Guy, and they would do tributes to Star Wars, and I just don't get it. It just doesn't. It just does. I don't know. I just don't get it.
I remember we were at a convention back in, I want to say 2015, and the big Star Wars was coming out soon. It was 2014 or 2015, and it was around Christmas time, and they had that little, I don't even know the name. What's a little white robot that's short, and he came out on the stage and stuff. They had,
oh, really?
Yeah, it was like this thing, and I was like, man, maybe I should watch this. Like, everyone was just freaking out about Star Wars, but that for some reason I never watched that.
I don't know.
What was that thing's name?
RCP3?
Maybe,
something like that?
yeah,
something like that.
Yeah.
Any Star Wars fans are literally
like,
probably
guys,
passing
come
out.
on, please.
Like, what? Yeah, I watched more of. I really wish I would have stuck to it because I was a huge fan of the WWF. And then, interesting enough, unless I made this up, but these are like these weird things now that have been so long that I'm trying to access that I almost go, did I just make this up? But why would I?
Right.
I went to one WWF match with my cousin when I was really young, probably like 10. And I feel it was the one where they announced they were going to merge the WWF with the WCW, and it became WWE.
Yeah.
And I watched that religiously. I loved it. That's how I became a fan of The Rock really early, like the People's Elbow and Rock Bottom. And we used to have a trampoline next door, and all the neighborhood kids would come over, and we would do wrestling. And we would do like the moves and backflips and like all this crazy stuff. And I was really into wrestling. And then I just stopped watching it, but that's what I spent a lot of my time doing. And funny enough, The Undertaker, which you probably wouldn't know if you never watched it, but he's an iconic character for 30 years in the WWF and then the WWE. He is retiring after 30 years, but he's about like 7 feet tall. He's like an Undertaker. Like, he's a real scary guy. Yeah. But some of the matches that he had back in the day with Mankind and the Rock, like just all these iconic WrestleManias and cage matches, it was so iconic, and it's still a huge business. Everyone like bows down to Vince McMahon.
Yeah.
In the entertainment business or the entrepreneurship business too, because he's built such a business there, and he owns the IP to every like character, I think. So it kind of sucks for the entertainers, but they're given the platform and all the money.
Of course.
But I think he owns that character. So all the merch, all the action figures, everything.
When I was younger, I would watch on MTV a show called Tough Enough. Do you ever remember watching that? It was a reality show, but it was for the competition of all of these athletes trying to become the next WWE superstar. Like they would get a contract. And I was obsessed with the show, so much so that I almost for a minute was like, well, I like entertainment. I wonder if that's something I could ever do. But then like I was watching it, and I mean, they are athletes. The way that you'd have to fall and fall. I remember just going, no, I mean, I love this. It's so entertaining, but I could never do that. And then come to find out, like all these years later, I think it was did Total Divas. Remember that reality show? And it has all the divas, the Bella Twins, just all of them. And there's something so cool and just like bold and just awesome about these women. Like they don't mess around. And it's my favorite. I think it's such a cool life. And funny enough, Orlando is a really big training ground for all these WWE performers. So they have a huge, huge gym here. I mean, you can imagine.
Yeah.
But this is the place where they kind of
I think they even have a lot of their competitions and stuff
there,
don't they? So Florida's the hub.
So maybe one day we'll get into WWE.
There's a better chance of me seeing Star Wars than ever stepping into a ring.
Oh my gosh. But it's good though. And then there was that one show you watched, the sitcom with a big...
Oh, The Big Show. Yeah. It was one of those easy watches. Like it was kind of, you know, if you're just looking for something to throw on, like no offense, The Big Show on Netflix. I definitely watched all the episodes, but it's kind of just like the cookie cutter pieced together sitcom. And the unique thing is that he's a retired wrestler and he's massive. So if you think about a guy, I can only imagine he's 7 feet tall, 350, 400, just a big, and he has a little daughter. So that's what makes it unique, but it's just an easy watch, 22-minute episodes, and I enjoyed it, but it brings me back to those days.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm. What did you learn about Disney then? What was the whole park hopper tickets or because we have to get our driver's license first, right?
Yes. So basically, if you're a Florida resident, they will give you different type of tickets that you can get if you want to get a annual Disney pass. And so they have the really expensive ones that are like $1,200 per person, and it's more of like a gold package where I think you can go any day that you want. But then I saw one that was $350 per person for an entire year of 365 days. Well, you can't go 365 days, but you can go to any park you want. But they do have blackout dates, and you can't go on the weekends. But you and I wouldn't go on the weekend anyway because that's pretty much a bigger crowd. So for like $350, you can go get free complimentary parking, get into any park that you want. You can go and do the park hopper. So if we start at Magic Kingdom on a specified date that is open for it, and we're like, oh, we're going to go do Epcot next. Oh, we want to go to Animal Kingdom. It's just so great to be a Florida resident, but you can only get that deal if you're a resident here. So I got our DMV appointment for February 12th. I'm glad I looked when I did because everything was booked except that date. They had all these times on that date. So I was like, okay, we'll go do that.
What day does that fall on?
I think it's a Thursday. Let me double check real quick.
But I'm glad, we should have called
Friday.
It's a Friday?
Yeah.
No, we have an appointment, so it's all good.
Yeah.
Someone asked me in a live the other day, they're like, are we going to have to take a written test because it's a new state?
I don't think so, but I did want to call them to confirm. Because
everything we need? Because we're not going to go and be missing a form, or if we have to take a written test, my God, we're going to have to study it.
Well, you know, it's crazy. So what's really cool about Florida is if you have a Florida license and you need to renew it, at least from what I knew in the past, you could renew it by mail. So I never had to go to the DMV if I needed to renew it. You just do the info, they send it. With California, I learned, oh no, I have to go there in person. And I do recall there was one time of my entire time living in Cali, I had to take a written test and I failed it because I didn't know I had to do it. And you would think, hey, I've been driving all these years.
Yeah.
I would know it. But the thing is they're really tricky with the verbiage and the questions. And they ask really odd, specific things. So after that, I got one of the pamphlets or booklets, went home, studied, went a couple days later. But it's a little scary.
It's just knowing. I mean, obviously, all the things we know from experience, you don't have to study. It's the nuances of, in a roundabout. Who knows? Or if there's a bike lane, you can enter it 75 feet, 100 feet, or 200 feet. Or if a school bus stops, is it 100 feet? And so there's those nuanced things. Or if there's a tunnel coming, or because all the signs we know, the signs are very self-explanatory.
Yeah.
So those are all easy, but there's those nuanced, how many feet until you have to put a blinker on? Mm-hmm. Who gets to go if there's a lane here and someone, there's all those like tricky questions, but we should call.
Just to confirm,
but I don't think we'll have to.
I don't think so either, but it's just really interesting looking back because I think I only took one physical driving test ever in my life.
Yep, when you're 16.
Yeah. And the one thing I remember from it, I passed it, thank goodness, but the one thing they clicked me on was at the very end of this entire test, I turned into park and I didn't use my blinker to turn to the spot. But like little things like that you just don't really think while doing, but hey, I guess it all makes sense. So we'll see. Hopefully we don't have to take a written test, but if we do, we'll look. I don't think Florida cares.
Clearly. Yeah, Florida driving's insane. I can see they're mailing it in.
They're crazy.
Yeah, no, hopefully it's just as simple as what we think it's going to be and that you can just be a resident instantly so we can get all that paperwork going. But it will be good because I think Disney, so even if you and I get the $350 each plus the parking included, I feel huge. If we go 3 times, it's paid for itself. Mm-hmm. So as long as we go maybe 10, 12, 15 times this whole year,
I mean, I want to go more than that.
Well, but here's where you're going to get me is because we're shooting content.
I know.
So loves the magicalness of Disney World.
Right.
So people who are going to watch it are going to enjoy seeing all this cool stuff.
Yeah.
You're going to enjoy it.
Oh my gosh.
I'm going to now enjoy it way more knowing that we're going to be shooting creative videos, capturing the magic.
Yep.
And giving it to an audience to enjoy.
Yeah.
That makes me happy. For me, just to go and ride, stand in line, and eat elephant ears is not my. But you know what I will spend a lot of time doing is the games.
Oh, they're
if
so
they
much
have like balloon, they have all that stuff, or maybe not.
Of course they do, because they have that in California Adventure. So the thing with California is they have Disneyland, and then they have California Adventure. They're right next to each other, but they're smaller parks. I remember the first time I went to Disneyland, I walked in, I was like, "That's the castle." Here, it's insanity how big it is. Like insane. And they have, I think it's 4 different parks and there's so much you can do. So in some of these different parks, they have all the games that you're thinking of. And even for me, this is how much I love just kind of the magic of Disney. Getting hopper tickets, I would just be down. I love Disney that much that I would just go myself just to be there and feel it and feel the energy and see just Disney, just the mute. Like there's something that's so charming. I'm so cool.
Kidding, but yeah.
You're like, we'll see. And it's not even about the rides for me even,
I like the rides.
Yeah.
Well, so do you know enough what's the difference between the parks?
Well, there are some different rides like Indiana Jones they don't have here. Most of the Fantasyland rides they have.
Well, I mean what is Epcot? What is Animal Kingdom? What is Disney World?
Okay, so Disney World is like Magic Kingdom. So if I am correct on this, I think that was the very first one that Walt Disney decided to build here in Orlando. And then Animal Kingdom is exactly what you'd imagine. It's all about the animals, safaris, just catered more to that.
Like actual animals?
I think so.
Or is it like rides or themed around animals?
I think it's a mixture of both. I only went one time when I was maybe in middle school.
And then Epcot, what is that?
Growing up, I just remember Epcot was kind of the more like boring park. But now that we're adults, they have stuff where you can drink around the world. So I guess it's all of these different, like they'll have like Italy or America or whatever it is. You go all around the world and you feel like you're there.
And are there rides and stuff?
In Epcot, yeah. I don't think there's quite as many. But again, I haven't gone in a long time. But a lot of my adult friends love Epcot.
Okay.
So I've never experienced as an adult. And then what's the last one? I think with like Tower of Terror and all of that, I forget what they call it here. Like MGM? Is that part of Disney though? I guess.
Yeah.
But they have like everything you'd imagine, like the Tower of Terror. I think they have a lot like of Star Wars and stuff.
Okay.
You know, all different. But we should really look into that. I would definitely say my first would be Magic Kingdom to go to. Maybe Epcot.
Well, I want to explore all of it because what we were thinking for everybody listening is we want to do kind of a Disney World, and Disney World I guess would include everything we're speaking of.
Yeah.
Epcot. And so, but in general, we wanted to do kind of a Disney World series, mini series on YouTube where every Monday or Friday or whatever day we pick for like 8 or 12 weeks, we release a Disney themed or at Disney themed video. And that's because that's what we're basically trying to do in 2021 is we want to up the content to give all of our loyal audience that's been here for 7 years with us, our ride or dies. We want to keep upping the ante. We want to keep on exploring the world and doing fun things so that you all can really enjoy it. We always think like, how can we just surprise our audience? And then we want to use those videos and clips to also cast a net and to like show other people in the world like, hey, here we are, come check out our stuff. And so that's kind of what we're going to do. And Florida's this magical place where we could do easily 12 videos with Disney, Epcot, and all that stuff. We could easily do 5, 10 videos in Naples. We could easily do 5 or 10 videos in Key West. I mean, it's going to be a lot of Florida-themed stuff, but it's interesting. And in perpetuity, like we did a video for my hometown of Ashtabula, but I didn't know it was I didn't know YouTube well enough then.
Right.
I was doing it because I thought that our audience would like to see my hometown. So I said, oh, this is great. This is going to be my hometown. I can show people where I played baseball and like where I grew up. But come to find out, it got more views than any other video we had done at that time because we're the #1 search result on YouTube for Ashtabula, Ohio.
Right.
So anyone ever who is Googling Ashtabula, Ohio YouTube video, we come up.
Yep.
So I go, oh, wow. So if we go to Naples and have 12 videos, what are the chances? I bet you we'll be in the search results. And that's what we did for even with Days of Our Lives for a while, is a lot of our co-stars, I always made the joke that we owned the search results, is if you type in, first of all, Freddie Smith, or if you typed in, maybe not anymore, but I haven't looked, but if you type in like Eric Martzoff or Chandler Massey or Camila, like these names were ranking first.
Yeah.
So anyone who's Googling all of our co-stars, our videos were being recommended first. So it was a really cool way of hacking the system of showing people that we have a podcast and all this kind of stuff. So it's just really neat learning what these platforms do and how they work. And so we're excited to go explore Florida and maybe become the Florida peeps that people go to. Because Florida's a state of vacation.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people Google Sarasota, they Google Siesta Key, they Google Naples, they Google Marco Island, Merritt Island, they Google Parkland and Fort Lauderdale and Miami. The Keys, like it's of course Orlando Celebration. So there's a lot. So I can't wait to just get out there. So I think this weekend's going to be the first weekend that we go do something outside the house.
Do something.
I'm so pumped for it.
It's cool though to see and learn as we continue going through SEO and what's discoverable, because even with something like Disney, for us, I've gone to Disney when I was younger, but to explore it as adults and to really explore like the top things you got to do when you're there, like the top suites you got to have. If you're drinking around the world in Epcot, what are the must-have cocktails in each place, or the hidden secrets, all that kind of stuff is a lot of fun because you can share that and that could be discoverable. I remember when we went to Koh Samui in Thailand, I looked up things to do there, the top things to do, what to see. And there's the big Buddha we saw and went to. And at that time, it makes me so sad we weren't really doing full-time content, let alone YouTube videos just yet. So we kind of missed out on that. But I think there's so much in Florida, like you said. It really is more of a vacation state, and there's a lot of tourism here. And Disney in itself, there's so much to explore, and it's so magical.
Yeah.
It's like such a cool feeling. You like feel it when you're there, like, oh yeah, I'm here.
Exactly. So we'll do probably, what would you say, maybe Naples. We'll stop and do our little honeymoon of like 2 days in Naples. Then we'll come home, work for the week. then go to like, Cocoa Beach for 2 days, and then come, and then, but once we become residents, then we'll do Disney.
Yes.
Because we'll get the park or the tickets.
That's 2 weeks away.
That's true. I can't believe it.
It's going to be here so fast. I also really want to do Kennedy Space Center. So bad.
Yeah.
So bad.
Do you think you're allowed to take pictures and videos in there?
Yeah. Absolutely. At least on the outside you can.
That makes for a great video.
You definitely can be able to do that.
Yeah, we got to see certain things I like that. So,
but we'll explore and see what will be really fun, and you just never know. There's so much to do. Florida's a really big state.
Yeah.
As long as we're safe and very careful.
I had a really, 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 really fun conversation with my cousin a couple days ago, and she was telling me that she obviously wears the mask and does that whole thing, but she says she's in her 30s and she's like, I'm not as much afraid, even though there are people our age that are getting it really bad, and there's long haulers and like all that exists. But she goes, for me, it's being around my mom, my sister, my nieces, and she's like, so anytime I do anything with people, I always quarantine and I wait. And for you and I, we're always careful. Like, I don't think we're gonna go to like even one of our favorite places here, we order from Miller's in Florida.
Yeah.
Drive by that place on a Friday night.
It's crazy.
It is packed.
Any day, really.
Any day. It is packed. Like, the whole restaurant's packed. And yet again, I don't judge people. Like, do what you want. I'm glad Florida gives the option. Just do what you want. I personally don't want to go sit in a bar inside and do that. But I do want to go out. And before your parents move here in 2 months, and before my parents come in 2 months to visit, then we're going to have a little more caution again.
Yeah.
But for the next 2 months, we're not around anybody.
Yeah.
So as long as we're safe,
we're
not at that risk as that. And that 1% that we get it, and then we give it to one of our 4 parents, and they're in a different age bracket. So it's like, so these next 2 months, it's like, let's really get out there and have some fun and go do things safely. And then we'll probably end up taking like a 10-day, stay at home before my parents come visit. Then when your parents come, then we'll kind of figure out what that's going to be like.
Yeah.
Because as an adult, we've never lived near parents.
Ever.
So I'm curious what that's going to be in general. Like, side note from everything going on in the world.
Yeah.
Like, what do you think, having your parents? Like, what's that going to be like if they're 10 minutes down the street?
I'm so excited.
But, like, what happens on, like, a Tuesday or, like, a Sunday? Like, what, like, do you just, like, pop over or you go to lunch, or that you come over? Like,
it's just even small things of, like, me being able to go meet my dad for lunch during the week, or
on his lunch break or something.
Yeah, or he and my mom come here and we do a big grilling cookout Saturday, hang out. If he wants to go golf first, like, just being with one another, or just whatever it might be, just having your family there. Because anytime I've ever gone to visit my family, it just is so hard and so sad to leave, because I'm like, I just enjoy their company so much and just being together. And, of course, too, with Bree and Jules and Jim, and just eventually the idea of being able to have more people here, like, makes my heart so happy. But especially with my parents, I haven't spent any time as an adult living with them. Organically, yes.
And this is something only people who maybe were away for a long time or would know, is that when you do see family, it's this, like, forced sounds like a negative word. That's not what I'm trying to say. But it's this, like, time is running out, forced kind of, you're here for 10 days. Every minute of every day is kind of like, what can we do? We're having dinner tonight, then we're ordering out, and then it's like, yeah, but we're kind of like watching, we're eating. Oh, you're on vacation. And it's like, you're going to eat because you're home with your parents. And it's like, I'm so curious what it's going to be like when there is no pressure.
It's going to be amazing.
You're just kind of like, oh, for these next 5 days, we're busy. We're not going to see anybody. But then on Friday, when everyone's doing nothing, you hang out.
Yeah.
And then you might hang out for 3 days in a row, but then you might not for 2 weeks.
Yep.
But it's more organic. You're not in this, like, you only have 7
There's
days
no
with you, and I'm not
pressure,
going to see
stress.
you again or hug you for 8 months.
I know.
It's weird. It's a weird experience to live far away from your parents.
That's the worst.
Because it's just not, you almost can't just do nothing, because you feel you're missing out on the small opportunity of time you have together.
Of course. And it's just going to be really, really nice to, oh, hey, Mom, come over. I need help with this. I want to cook something. Hey, we're going to come for Sunday dinner. Just like easy.
And it's just going to be super neat. And I think with Rick golfing and my dad golfing, I have to learn because it's going to be such a cool thing, especially in Florida. And depending on how long we stay here, it's got to be included, right? If you live here.
I would assume so. But the craziest thing is that my dad, for a very long time, every year, he and his buddies, they didn't do it this year because of everything going on, but they would have this big tournament. Tourney. They'd have a big golf tourney.
Yeah, he'd grab his clubs from the cabinet.
No, and they, crazy enough, did it right here where we live.
We didn't know that.
We had no idea. And so when he was telling me about it, because it was supposed to happen, I think, in November or October, and I was like, wait a minute, Dad, that's exactly where we're at. And we just couldn't believe it. It was just so crazy. What are the odds?
We got super lucky. This is what I love about letting things just kind of be. And there was this house we were obsessed with on Airbnb. Mm-hmm. We were like, we want this so bad. Everything about it was so awesome. But they didn't allow dogs. And Alyssa was like, oh, I'm going to get it. And so you emailed, because we usually not get our way, but if you just ask, people usually say yes. Like that little cabin in Lake Arrowhead was no dogs. And you go, can we? And they're like, yeah. Mm-hmm. You just got to ask. So Alyssa asked, we found this perfect house. And he goes, no, no dogs allowed. And we're like, damn it. We were like so pissed off.
Yeah.
We're like, oh. But then we kind of got on this train for a few days. We're like, we're not going to look anymore. Like we were kind of down. Remember we were like burnt from looking at Airbnbs. Yeah. And then this house we're in kept popping up.
And we both kept it saved.
Because it was awesome, but it wasn't new modern.
Which is what we were
always looking at. And then once I started looking at the pictures again, I said, this is like really charming though. Mm-hmm. It's got a little Tuscany vibe to it. And I was like, it'd be a little different rather than just this modern, modern.
And our last apartment was really modern.
Yeah.
Like this felt like vacation.
Yeah.
Like under the Tuscan sun or something,
Exactly. So I said, this is like cool. And we both looked at it and we're like, let's do it. So anyway, we're really happy because everything worked out here. We ended up signing a big lease and it was like a big thing. You went on the Nextdoor app and you looked up the neighborhood of that dream house that we wanted. Yeah. And so many people are complaining that it is a party central community, loud music. Yeah. It's a disaster. And we thought it was like the dream house and it was going to be so awesome. And we dodged a bullet.
Yep.
And here we are. And when we looked at this place, the satellite, we did Google Earth or whatever you call it. And we've never been here. And we looked at it and we go, is this house in the middle of nowhere? Like a creepy middle of nowhere? Right. And I think we may have talked to Anne about it. And she was like, no, there's like houses. Yeah. Or I don't remember but we ended up going, let's take the chance.
Chance it.
And when you're here, I mean, you could throw a baseball and hit our neighbor.
Yeah.
But there's 3 empty lots here. We're at the corner. There's never, ever going to be anything built here. And then across the street, there's no house. We are literally in the middle. There's no neighbors. You never hear a thing. It's so quiet at night that it's something I've never experienced.
But if you drive down not far away, there are tons of houses, tons of neighbors.
Yeah.
So it's not like we're in the middle of nowhere. It just kind of worked out perfectly with where it was situated. And they just haven't built next door.
It's so unbelievable because living in an apartment, like even our last apartment, you kind of get used to the noises, like your brain kind of gets used to it. But we lived right above the garage or the parking garage. You know, in apartments you drive in and then the garage door will open? Our bedroom was right above the garage door opening. So every time someone would come in, you'd hear a...
That's right. And then you'd hear the elevator.
And then the elevator was right next to us.
Oh my gosh.
And you would hear people coming and going. So we kind of... But then you get used to it.
Sure.
And I got to say, I as much as there was like a little sound here and there, we did not have bad neighbors. Mm-mm. The people above, you heard footsteps, but nothing bad.
No.
The only other thing that was a pain in the ass is that we had the... refrigerator, the Squeal Edition 2.0, where it was just unbelievable. So we ended up having to shut our door when we slept. But
well, then towards the end of our time there, you moved the fridge into the podcast studio because it's such
it got so bad.
It was so bad. It's this crazy high pitched noise. And we're like, we don't know what else to do. So we were like living in this weird, just parallel universe of going into the other room to get
But then it became normal.
I know.
But for the last 2 months, and my dad was like, call the landlord and get him to fix it. I go, first of all, we're leaving in 60 days.
Yeah.
It was still in the height of like, I didn't want people in our apartment, even with a mask.
Oh,
I was
yeah, that's true.
And I just didn't want to deal with someone coming in. Hey, how are you? Good. They move it out. They're like, yeah, we need a new part. We're going to have to order it. And like, I just don't. And
you didn't want to deal with it.
Just, people, just do it.
I know.
You come over. Everyone's got to take a look. What are you looking at? It's a motor that's broken. Get me a new refrigerator in 48 hours. But I can never say that because I feel like an ass. And people don't care. People in these positions feel like they get like so much crap all the time. They're numb to it.
Right.
Yeah, there's just nothing we can do. It's going to be 2 weeks. I know, but I mean, there's obviously something you can do. No, it's going to be 2 weeks. And then you have to, I just couldn't deal with it. I need to protect my energy.
Well, and that's what's crazy with a lot of different situations in life when you are forced to deal with outside energy, because even our dental insurance, they have this interesting thing where you don't pay when you're at the actual dentist, but then they send a reimbursement check that either you can cash and pay out of pocket to the dentist, or you take this check and send it to the dentist. It's just this whole crazy thing. I'm like, can't you just send a credit?
So how does it go?
So the dental insurance sends us a check.
Because I never paid at the dentist.
No, you never paid. So say it was $147. The dental insurance sends us a check, a reimbursement.
$147.
Yes. Now you can either cash that and call the dentist and pay them the $147, or you can take this check and send it in the mail or drop it off to the dentist and they can cash it. So I was dealing with this the other day because right before we left, we got our teeth clean. And for some reason, the dental insurance was saying, we can't send this check out to your new address because it hasn't updated on our records. And I was like, well, how do I do that? They're like, well, you have to call your employer for your insurance. It was just this whole crazy thing. So I said, okay, let me figure this out. So I go log into the dental insurance. I update it. I change it myself. I was like, I'm obviously changing it. Like, we're going to be fine. I call back and I said, hey, like, did it update on your end? And they're like, no. And they're like, unfortunately, we have to wait 72 hours. There's nothing we can do. I was like, okay, let me try this. So I called again to get another person. And I go, can I speak with a supervisor? I go through, I'm literally on the phone for like an hour. Keep saying there's nothing we can do. Call back in 72 hours. I call back 10 days later, which was yesterday.
10 days later.
Yeah. Like gave them plenty of time. And I explained the situation of, hey, I updated this, in the back office, if you will. And he's like, we're still not seeing it on our end, but give me 1 second. He goes, okay, what's the new address that you have? And I gave it to him. He goes, great, we'll reissue a new check and get that out to you right away. He's like, but follow back up in a week and see if your address has updated and posted. If not, we'll figure that out for future. So it just goes to show me that obviously there was something they could have done, because this guy reissued it. He changed my address right there, where when I called 10 days prior, got a supervisor on the line, they said there was nothing they could do.
But they could.
They could. So the answer is always going to be no if you don't ask. And sometimes you ask and it's still no. But
I guess my whole thing though is at what point, this is what I'm really trying to figure out, is like what point do you use this energy? And because my whole thing, because we paid, we ended up paying the dentist because it was overdue.
Yeah.
We paid $147 out of pocket.
Yeah.
But when this stuff happens, we're like, it's just simple.
Yeah.
We just want to pay. Like, I don't want to deal with this. Isn't this why we have insurance?
Yeah.
I don't want to deal with this. And the same thing happened, not to rehash this entire story, but when it came to our furniture, I think everyone remembers the entire rant I've done about the damn furniture.
Right.
30 emails, 20 calls. It was just a nightmare of confusion, miscommunication. And long story short, I ended up getting in touch with the dispatcher. So not the company that kind of is the broker that found us a truck to move our stuff in. I got a hold of the truck company itself. And it was trying to get our stuff here faster, miscommunications, but all very polite, all very good stuff. Well, on Christmas Eve, we get a call that our furniture can be delivered on Christmas Day. And Alyssa and I were like, you know what? Like, that's fine. We don't have family here this year. Let's do it. But we had an hour to get a cashier's check to give to them. They will not release your furniture, you know, everything you own, without a cashier's check. But it was last minute. The banks were closing, and I was charged $500 more than I should have been. But I didn't want to miss the Christmas delivery, because what if they would have just put it in a warehouse, or it could only come on our wedding day?
Yeah.
There was a lot going on, so I said, you know what? Let me just pay the extra $500 right now. This was already expensive. I'll negotiate and get this back later.
Yeah.
So Christmas comes, we pay the $500 extra. A couple days go by, and I write the owner of the company, and I say, hey, you charged me. It ended up being like $498.56 exactly. And he goes, okay. He goes, if we find out that that's the case, I will sell you the money, like no problem, but please give me until the new year. So I go, okay. Deep breath, Freddie. You've been going back and forth with these companies all this time. It's been like, can't you just send me the money?
Know.
I paid you $7,100 to ship my furniture. Just send me back $498. That's all. I'm right. I've emailed you all the time. I know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But I go, you know what, Freddie? Take a deep breath. You have your stuff. It's Christmas. You've got the wedding coming up. Just be happy that it wasn't on the wedding day.
Yeah.
And if worst case scenario, you lost $500, you have your furniture. It's done. I said, I'm going to wait. So I wait until about January 3rd. I'd never heard from him.
Yeah.
He never wrote me.
No.
So I write on January 3rd, and I get a bounce back email that says, due to an emergency, this email is blah, 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 blah. But because we had a relationship, he wrote me directly. And he goes, hey, there's been a death in the family, and I'm out of town for 2 weeks. And here I go, oh my God, life is bigger than $498. This person just lost somebody, but this part of me was just like, I never said this. I don't want to be insensitive, but it's just like, just sell me the $498. Like, I'm not trying to be a bad person. I'm not a bad person, but you've been stringing me along for long.
For months, yeah.
Like, just send me the money.
I'm going to close this chapter.
And I took another deep breath, and I go, Freddie, life is bigger than $498. Relax. This guy just lost somebody.
Yeah.
So I just never wrote back. I said, he said he's back on the 20th. And I said, I'm real rude if I write on the 21st. So I said, What's the point where I cannot be rude and insensitive, because I'm not that kind of person, but I have been drug along for 2 months and couldn't get the right answers. So I ended up emailing today. And I said, hey, my condolences to your family. I said, but I do want to follow up on this reimbursement. Can we get it handled? And luckily he wrote back and said, I will have this to you by noon on Friday. If not, please get it hold of me. So it seems like we're going to get the money. But my whole point is that you could have probably handled it even the day after Christmas, because how many of your clients are writing you and having this back and forth? Just handle it. You're writing me back. I gave you the 2 receipts. You can clearly see you owe me $500.
Just go on Zelle. It's quick and easy.
Sell it. If somebody told me, I'm upset with the mug and the Teespring company isn't going to refund me, I go, I'm not going to. Here's $14.
Yeah.
I want you to be happy.
Yeah. Yeah.
$498 to a owner of a company when I just paid you $7,100 is like us going, if you're on, I would rather you be happy and take $14 than me have to open up an investigation to see if the mug really got to you.
Right.
Just give it.
Just
send
do
me
it.
the dental check. I don't understand it. And it's like same thing when our hot water, the gas problem the gas problem we had.
Yeah.
Just come and do it. Why do we have to go through an hour and a half of
Well, and you ended up having to call when it came to the gas, and you spoke to supervisor after supervisor
and
after
supervisor. And I finally made it happen,
yeah.
but it was just it's like, people, let's just get it done the first time we touch it.
That's my favorite rule.
If you touch a bill that has to be paid,
once.
Pay it.
Yep.
If there's a problem with the friend, call them, solve it.
Yes.
Just whatever it is, just get it done. I'm very methodical. Get it done.
Well, and if you keep touching the same thing or whatever it is, like you just made the example of, you're wasting so much time and energy on I'll get to that. Just touch it once.
Yeah.
That's it.
So that's my little rant. But we were thinking, this is a part where I don't have an answer.
Right.
I do not know how to handle this situation because
You handled it fine. This is all you can do.
I did, but it took patience.
It did, but everything's working out.
It is. But it's just like, it's one of those things that I think the lesson to be learned is like, you know, I just don't know. I don't know if anyone's ever going to ship. I will never, ever ship furniture ever again. If we ever move to Ohio or Jersey or California, selling it, I'll take the loss.
We're not going to be moving.
Or I'll put it in a U-Haul and drive the U-Haul. I will never ship furniture again cross country.
Not like that.
Ever.
I would do the cube again. That actually worked great the first time. But our circumstances didn't allow us to do it. 'Cause we're like, we're not going to leave all of our stuff on Coldwater Canyon for 2 days.
It was just the circumstances that created that. But anyway, to end on a positive note, we are very excited for this year to begin. We're going to make the best of it.
Heck yeah.
And we are going to go travel. We want to show you some really cool places, give you some vacation ideas. So if you ever come down and vacation so we're going to go to all the coolest places here in Florida. We're going to document all of it. We're going to TikTok all of it. And we're just so grateful. And then when it comes to the membership program of our podcast and our YouTube, in the next week or two, we're going to do a little update. We're going to be doing some really cool things there. And I think all of you who may have been on the fence of whether to be a member or not, I think this little extra bonus that we're going to do is going to make it really fun to at least try it out.
Yeah.
And so in the next week or two, we're going to talk about that. But we're having an absolute blast in our membership program, putting up tons of videos. We're really, putting up a lot there. And so if you want to check that membership program out, we can click the join button on YouTube or support now on Facebook and take a look. You can kind of spend a weekend too and binge some of the stuff we've put up there. And we even have the extended version of our wedding up in there and everything too. So there's a lot of fun stuff. So once we get everything ironed out, we've been really meticulous about making sure we're doing everything the right way. And that's why we've been kind of taking our time the past month of announcing our new video, because I think the video we did in May, there's been some changes. So I want to make an updated video. So when people click on the membership, the video is more concise. And now that we've learned,
definitely,
it's going to be a lot of fun. So,
well, May will have been a year that we did that video.
The what?
May, it will be a year since we did that initial video.
Where I changed my shirt?
Yeah. Wasn't that the 100th episode too?
It was around that.
Around that time, because we had the decorations up, I remember.
Yeah.
It's just crazy. Like, it feels like yesterday, but it also feels like a lifetime ago. There's just so much has been going on in between.
Oh, yeah. I have no idea what's going on. It's a definite...
What year is it?
I don't know.
Am I 2050 yet?
Now that we've hit 2021, though, it almost feels like when you hit like 30, like 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, it's kind of all the same.
It's all the same.
Like there was something about like 2020 and then what happened. And
now,
2021. So, but I do think if this random person on TikTok was right, but he seems to have nailed it. And I think I do believe this April and May, there will be graduations in high school and college. I think they will throw the events, but it'll all be masked.
Yeah.
And then he was mentioning come the end of summer or early like October, some kind of sporting events, like things will start filling back up in full capacity, but with masks. Mm-hmm. And then by Christmas, you will be unmasked with extended family by the way everything's going. Yeah. So if that is the case, then it looks like this will still be kind of a strange year, but if we can get together with family for Thanksgiving and Christmas and things are open back up and we can kind of, use this as like the last bridge year before we get back to 2022 of like a more normal kind of thing. And we'll probably have to wear masks maybe in public a lot for a long time. We don't know, but at least getting back together with people, if they can get this to where you're not at risk of
and then one day we can throw our big Freddie Alyssa show event.
Gotta tell you, I know we thought about our 100th episode, like it was a thought, we never actually put it out there, where I was like, oh, it'd be so cool to throw an event for it. I'm really kind of happy that we didn't, because the Freddie Alyssa show has turned into something really, really, well, it's just grown.
Yeah.
And I think by the time, especially another year, like I think we'll be able to do our, like we want to do a 5-city tour so bad. Like it is the thing I'm looking forward to most when everything opens up, because we just have to see all of you.
Yeah.
I hope you know how much you mean to us. We just like, so we're going to figure something out, and when as soon as things open back up, but it's probably going to be 2022, but it'll give us time to keep thinking, to keep building, so that we can find a bunch of like-minded people all around the country. Maybe people even fly in from other countries too.
Okay.
Hit up one of the cities. We'll all get together, have a good time.
There's
eat some
light
good
at the end of the
food.
tunnel.
It's going to be great. So thank you all so much for tuning in every week and supporting us. And we're going to be bringing you so many cool videos, and I can't wait to go shoot them.
Yes,
so
we will.
Have a great rest of your week, and we will see you here next Wednesday.